this weekend, but they're not going to not be a threat. I'll put it like that.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. So we reached round 5. I think it's more than fair that we start talking about these rookies. I think we got to take a temperature check. I think it's time to examine where they at and see what we're thinking about them overall. How do we feel about the rookie crop this year?
Well, we've already kind of discussed Jack Doohan a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've already talked at length about Liam Lawson from the start of the season to, well, I haven't really talked about him this episode, but in general.
But no, like let's go through on a quick fire perspective. So how do we feel about Kimmy Antonelli so far?
I mean, Kimmy Antonelli's everything that you want him to be and more. I can only imagine what that guy's gonna be able to do once he gets done with school. I mean, I feel that. I 100% feel that.
You looking at my notes? Because that's exactly what I wrote.
No.
When this guy isn't worried about math tests, just think about how much more he's gonna be able to put into to his racecraft.
I love how the European language is like maths. Like it's like in plural. Anyway.
I have my math tests.
Yeah.
My maths test.
So Kimmy's been fantastic. He is an overtaking madman. He does not drive the car like he's 19. So that's 18. Yeah. So that's crazy. I would say Kimmy's off to a hot start, but we've talked about it. He's also in a really good position to
look, the car is superb. We get that, but he's making it work for him in a way that most rookies might not.
No,
my expectations walking into the season were like, look, if he's landing in the points, I'm pretty happy. My expectations were so low. And then he walks out and puts a P4 on the map.
And now we're
crazy Australia.
Now we're kind of questioning if he doesn't get points. Like last weekend, he should have had points, but the strategy, the tires and everything like that kind of kept him out of that running. So for Kimmy, A+, I would say for a grading if we're doing that.
Okay.
Liam Lawson, I would say he kind of found himself back in that Visa Cash App Red Bull car.
The Racing Bulls.
Yeah, the Racing Bulls car. So I would just say for Liam, maybe a B- because obviously he got demoted. But
you are the nicest person in the world to give Liam Lawson a B-.
I feel bad for the kid. Like I
didn't realize feeling bad meant giving out B-.
I mean, what would you do?
I would give him at least a D- to an F+.
Why?
First off, the confidence, unfortunately, is shattered because of Red Bull. Like, I'm going to give him a little bit of a leeway on that. But because you went from being the perennial number 2 driver, having one of the top teams at your disposal, to not even getting past like P15 on track in a car that, while it's rough, we've seen his teammate Yuki Tsunoda at least put this thing in the points now, put it in close to contention. He was within a margin of less than 1/10 of a second from being in a Q3 in back-to-back weekends.
Right, so, but Yuki is not a rookie. He's got way more.
Yeah, but you could argue that Liam Lawson wasn't a rookie.
Okay,
either,
but Yuki, yeah, okay. So let's say that Liam Lawson isn't a rookie. Yuki's still got years of experience over him. Yes, and he's driving a car with an engine that he's familiar with, that he knows, that he prefers.
But Liam Lawson also worked in that same engine for 2 years prior as well, through multiple race weekends. So it's going through the program and being familiar with the infrastructure.
But to call Liam a Honda driver is
but what I'm saying is, like, from a D- perspective, it's because you made this, you walked into one of the better teams on the grid and you couldn't at least deliver into a Q2 at times. You were struggling across multiple formats. I can put aside crashing in Australia, like a third of the grid did. But if you're looking at Lawson's situation, it's tragic. And honestly, Red Bull have botched this as well. I'm not going to take away the other half of the issue for Liam Lawson, which is the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you still have to produce. The amount of stress and pressure that this kid was put under from get-go, that's a Red Bull issue at a certain level, but it's also a him issue. Walking in saying, oh, I'm not here to make friends, right? Now this guy could probably use a friend, right?
I just don't see it the same way that you do. I don't think he has a confidence issue. I think he understands the task at hand. I think he just needs to get right. And honestly, I think it'd be really beneficial for Liam to get out of the Racing Bull system as a whole, whatever that looks like in the coming future.
Look, like, I'm not rooting for the guy at a certain level. Like, I hope he can get back to the driving style we saw when he was at AlphaTauri / Racing Bulls, right? Where he was aggressive. He was making some pretty interesting overtakes. He was driving with a strong pace, and he looked like he belonged. And then something happened between Racing Bull's promotion to Red Bull and now back, where there doesn't seem to be a confidence, there doesn't seem to be a raw pace, and there doesn't seem to be that exuding of talent that inspired Red Bull to make that decision in the first place. I'm saying that there is a disconnect at a certain level. It's infrastructure, don't get me wrong, but at the other end of it, the conversations wouldn't have started if he hadn't been performing so poorly in the first place.
Yeah, okay, look, I'll take my grading down to a C, but even then, this is a Red Bull issue, and it's going to continue to be a Red Bull issue. Liam Lawson is the product of Red Bull absolutely screwing up something once again. And if Liam Lawson finds himself out of a F1 seat in the next few years because of this, it's going to be Red Bull's fault, because you put him in that situation and then didn't even really give him the chance to prove himself.
He will be the poster child for mismanagement.
But he should have never, ever been in that position in the first place. It should have been Yuki's seat and then give Liam another year.
You know, what I'm saying is, at this level, if he's out after this year, which is possible because of Red Bull being Red Bull, but if he's out after this season, he's going to be the poster child for mismanaging Formula One drivers. He just will be. Whether his fault or otherwise, Red Bull's infrastructure problem, yes, there are a lot of issues here. Unfortunately, he's not necessarily making a case for himself that would prove to Formula One fans, to pundits, that, hey, maybe they made the wrong decision to make the swap so early either.
Okay, well, Liam's not the only rookie.
He's got a teammate. He's got a teammate at Racing Bulls, Isaac Hajar. In my personal opinion, he's exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, you did not like Isaac Hajar at all.
I liked Isaac Hajar, but I wasn't sure, because I did my preseason rankings. I had a lot more questions than I had answers. Like, I had more confidence in Ollie Bearman and Antonelli and a Gabriel Bortoleto. Hajar coming in second place out of that F2 championship, having all the frustration that he had in F2, I had questions. So far, he has answered a lot of them. He's leading the V-Carb so far. He's staying cool amid all the drama around him within Red Bull's organization.
True.
His first points were in Japan with a P8, 4 points so far on the year in total. He's hovering on points pretty consistently. He's doing a good job. I think for him right now, he just needs stability, and he's doing a solid bang-up job. Whether Yuki Tsunoda is going to be in this with Red Bull next year, do whatever Red Bull looks like in the next year, I don't know that Isaac Hajar is not going to be a part of their plans. He's doing a really good job. I'd give him, in fact, I think I'd probably give him just a flat A at the very least. He's doing a good job.
I like an A. I think he's fit for the Red Bull system. Moving on to someone you already talked about, let's talk about Ollie Bearman. I think Ollie Bearman is slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite rookies, just in the way that he carries himself. Like, he doesn't seem like a killer or nothing like that, but behind the wheel or nothing. Like, he kind of seems like a pretty easygoing kind of guy. But the way he drives, I don't want to use the word madman because I already used it for Kimmy, but he does drive with.
He drives smart.
He drives smart, but he's aggressive when he needs to be.
Yeah, we saw that in China with all those overtakes.
And
Probably should have been a driver of the day.
And while we were texting over the weekend about the race, I just kind of looked up and I was like, holy crap. I was like, look what Haas is doing right now.
Yeah.
And Ollie Bearman, we've seen a lot of drivers go in Haas and not do anything. And it's like, look, yeah, we just kind of come to expect that. Ollie Bearman is working a lot out of that car. For my grade, I would say for Ollie Bearman, I like an A as well for Ollie. I think he's really doing well in Haas, and I think he's proving himself to the grid that he's more than just a mid-level driver.
Yeah, if he wasn't stuck in the Haas, I mean, he's scoring points every single weekend. He had a P20 to P10 in Bahrain, even amid all of like the craziness. He had really strong performance there. He had a super strong weekend in China where he was overtaking pretty much everybody in the midfield and back. Ollie Bearman's good. He's going to be around for a while. We all knew that he was going to be good within the F1 world.
But you never know how someone's going to do with Haas.
Yeah. So like he's transitioned really, really well. The infrastructure there seems to be very solid. Driving in a Ferrari engine as well. He's doing a good job. He's another one of these really, really, really solid rookies. And rounding it out, well, we talked about Jack Doohan a little bit. I want to revisit Jack Doohan a little bit here.
I would say Jack Doohan for me is a flat B.
A B?
Just because he's kind of tempered off those not the expectations, but the pressure that he had coming into the season. We're 5 races in. We haven't really heard a whole lot of that drama as far as the 6th race check-in.
I think I'm going to be a little more critical. I think I'm going to be a little bit more critical. As optimistic and as much as I want to see this kid succeed, there are questions I still have about Jack Doohan. He's had more rookie moments. He's had plenty of rookie moments. He's had his fair share. He had the crash in Australia, which I'm going to kind of call a wash, but he had an incident with Gabriel Bortoleto in China. He completely destroyed the car in Japan during testing.
True.
So, like, he's had his slew of rookie moments that if he hadn't delivered in Bahrain, we'd probably be having a very different conversation.
And while I do understand that, and I'm not saying that he's the best rookie on the grid, and that's why I gave him the grade that I did, I think he's giving Alpine enough room to be like, look, I know you're making your mistakes, but we still have a little bit of belief in you.
Look, he's fighting.
You can't say he's made enough mistakes where it's at a point where we need to replace him.
I think Bahrain saved him, because if he had a really bad result in Bahrain, I think the Franco Colapinto conversations we'd be having them right now. I'm just saying that, because with the amount of damage that the car has been put through with Doohan, with all due respect, he's had some solid performances. Right now, he's staving off the pressure of a Franco Colapinto, and I think he continues to earn the seat that he's driving, right? But at the same time, if he has one more bad crash, like, that might just very well be the single break point. If he puts the car in the wall in Jeddah, flies off, and has, like a Lance Stroll moment where he just bins it, we're going to start having that conversation of like, man, like, we were already you're kind of on this 50-50 line, maybe a little 60-40 because we like the guy, but that could very well flip the other way any given weekend. I think that the seat isn't hot, but it's a little simmering, just a bit. Just a bit.
All right.
I think it's a fair thing to say for Jack Doohan, with all due respect.
I don't disagree with that.
And Gabriel Bortoleto, unfortunately, he drives for Stake F1. He's been pretty good, from what I understand, keeping up with Hülkenberg. He's keeping on track with one of the faster drivers from last year, but unfortunately, he is severely limited by probably the worst car on the grid. I'm going to give him a C plus at this point, just because it's hard to elevate this car. That's kind of where I'm at.
I don't think you can.
I don't know if anybody can.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
he's getting his F1 wings. He's getting the experience of being an F1 driver without the literal like pressure of, hey, you need to deliver points every week.
He's just like, hey, please don't crash.
Because Nico Hülkenberg's got 6 this year. They're doing better than they were last year at this point in the year. I'm sure they'll probably snag some points at some other points as well. I think Gabriel Bortoleto scores points this year, but it's going to take a little while.
Side note. Put Max Verstappen in the
kid's also the reigning F2 champion. I mean,
put Max Verstappen in the Stake F1 car. Where does he place?
P12.
Okay, I like that. I could agree with that.
Yeah, P12. I mean, Gabriel Bortoleto's really good. He's back-to-back F3, F2 champion. Unfortunately, he's in the slowest tractor on the grid.
Not Max's, though. Max is the tractor.
No.
Max is the tractor.
No. Max's is not a tractor so much as it is a
Just put a John Deere green sticker on that car.
Dude, no. It's like
got the green.
It's like driving a unicycle with a Ducati engine on it. It's fast, but it doesn't handle very well.
All right.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.